Hello, and welcome to our lesson on identifying project risks. This segment will cover tools and techniques for identifying risks. Part 1. During project initiation, while doing the project charter, high-level project risks are identified. Detailed risk identification is performed during project planning. However, given the iterative nature of the Identify Risks process, it recognizes the potential emergence of new project risks as the project progresses through its life cycle, leading to changes in the overall project risk level. The frequency of iterations and participation in each risk identification cycle will vary according to the situation. In order to identify risks, the project manager and project team, or project risk team if defined, start by reviewing the project context, scope and characteristics, and the risk management plan. A risk management plan is a structured document developed by the project manager at the beginning of project planning that outlines how the project will identify, assess, prioritize, and manage risks. It provides a proactive and systematic approach to addressing uncertainties that could impact the achievement of objectives. It includes methods to use for risk identification, risk breakdown structure, and roles and responsibilities for risk identification of the project. The project manager may need to meet with the sponsor or other key stakeholders to identify the best approach to identify and manage risks of the project. The project manager and project team may utilize a variety of techniques to identify risks to the project. In this section, we will cover the most widely used approaches. Many areas within a project, including elements such as scope, requirements, schedule, cost, resources, quality, and procurement, may be susceptible to various risks. These risks arise due to the inherent complexities and uncertainties associated with each component, potentially impacting the overall success of the project. It is essential to diligently identify, analyze, and address risks within these diverse aspects to mitigate potential disruptions, ensure effective project management, and enhance the likelihood of achieving project objectives. Accordingly, the project manager and project team should review all finished or available project plans and documents to analyze them to identify areas that are subject to uncertainty or risks. Some of the documents that the project manager and team needs to review are the project charter, including the project objectives, high-level milestones, deliverables, budget, and constraints. Scope statement and WBS, including detailed scope of the scope and the components of the work to be done as there might, several risks associated with requirements, specifications, and approved delivery methods. Schedule and cost estimates and baselines. The degree of accuracy of estimates for time, cost, effort, or resources may be a source of risk. Sequence of work. Risk emanates from interdependencies and the consequential sequence of work. Particularly noteworthy are the critical path and external dependencies formed through resource sharing with other projects. Should the critical path undergo alterations throughout the project lifecycle, the dynamic nature of the criticality associated with risks related to the elements on that critical path must also be acknowledged and managed accordingly. Procurement plans. Risks might arise from contract types or vendors' reliability, quality, exchange rate risks, or adherence to delivery schedule. Quality plans. To check the approach, quality specifications, and matrices, and if there are risks associated with achieving them. Resource plans. Risk might arise with either estimates of resources or acquisition methods that might impact the availability of project resources at the right time. Stakeholders plan. Review the stakeholders plan to check the levels of influence and impact for key stakeholders and if the engagement approach is sufficient to ensure project buy-in and engagement. Historical records of risks identified or emerged in past projects is a good source to identify risks since it offers a glimpse on which risks are likely to materialize. In the case of reassessing and identifying risks during execution and monitoring and controlling, other documents may need to be analyzed being a potential source of risks. This includes Issues Log, that highlights the current problems of the project. Changes Log, identifies approved changes that might be a source of additional risks. Once these documents have been reviewed and analyzed, the project manager and team identify risks associated with each area, formulate a risk statement for each risk, and document risks in the risk register. This is the end of this segment of our lesson. In the next segment, we shall discuss tools and techniques for identifying risks. Part 2. This course is presented to you by South Europe College. Thank you for listening, and see you on our next segment.